Welcome to another episode of the Pedagogy Pods. Welcome, Meenakshi.
Thank you, Meenakshi.
And today's topic is really I want to learn something from you, and I want to tell you some examples from my class also. Because I always wanted my students to learn from asking questions, not me imparting all the knowledge to them. Normally, what happens, we go to a classroom and we start talking about what happened, and these are the questions, and you need to answer these questions. But sometimes I feel the need of that we must teach our students how to think.
Absolutely. What a beautiful thought, isn't it? Wow.
So, whenever I used to talk to you, you always told me that when you were in Pathways, that is an IB school, there is a very beautiful practice there, which is called inquiry-based learning.
Correct.
So, let us reflect on that today. And I want to learn from you also that how did you do in your classrooms? How did it make you feel more satisfied rather than being asking questions, your students asking questions, and how do you do that in classroom?
Thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you for asking that question. I think it's imperative, especially in today's day and age, that we engage students. I love your whole thought that you want to engage students more, and you want them to ask questions. Questioning is again, forming questions or getting students to form a question is also an art. And when you say you want to learn from me, I'm not sure how much will I be able to help in that, but I would love to share what experiences I've had. And yes, IB definitely enriched the way we teach and learn. It changed my perspective. So let's talk about that, and let's see how we can take this forward. You know what? I think in inquiry, the best way would be you ask me a question. Now, because this is inquiry-led way, let's see how we turn that around. So go ahead, ask me a question.
Let me give you an example of something.
Okay.
Maybe I'll bring something to you.
Okay, that's interesting actually. Yeah.
I'll bring something to you, and then you just tell me how will you do it in the classroom.
Okay, so till she comes back, I just want to say it in just about a few words. Inquiry is nothing but involving students and provoking their thoughts and getting them engaged in the conversation. Okay, here's a planter that she's gotten.
I found it in front of my eyes, so I brought it.
Awesome. Okay, so what do you want me to do about it?
How will you teach students to make questions about it? How will they do it?
Awesome.
Exact procedure of what will.
Okay, how do you start drafting questions? The best thing is, if you noticed when she brought this, I did not even define what this is. I asked her as to what is it that you want, and all of a sudden she started getting engaged and she's asking questions. Now tell me something. This is many things for me. What kind of what do you want to focus on? What do you want to see in this whole item that you have brought here? What kind of questions do you want me to frame?
I want you to frame questions about this plant and how is this working in a glass pot. So these are questions coming to my mind.
You see what is happening here? Thoughts. It's not just about the plant. It's all about the pot as well, which is made out of glass. So only thing I'm doing is laying ground over here for her to build on this inquiry and watch as we move forward.
Yeah, I also think that there is no soil in it.
Yeah, there you go. That's another thought. No soil, and the plant is still surviving. Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. What else?
And does it grow also, or it remains same in water?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't I actually pick it up and bring it out to see?
Wow.
Oh, do you see that?
There are roots in it.
Yeah, and roots. These roots, did we really pluck the whole plant, or is it a part of a plant?
It seems like a part of a plant.
Do you see this? What do you think this is?
These are roots. New roots are coming, and there is. I think we have broken this from a plant.
Oh, how do you know?
Upper part of it.
How do you know?
Because I can imagine, because this plant is a big plant, and we have broken the stick from somewhere from the plant, and this is a little. It seems like isme roots nahi hai.
Oh yes, this one doesn't have roots.
And these have roots.
And these are different sticks. Do you see that? Now, if you look at this one, this has
Roots.
this one has
No roots.
or
Or this is
some roots maybe growing.
maybe a little bit of roots.
Are they
coming
really
in.
roots or are they part of the stem? Touch, feel, you just felt it. Here, feel the roots here and tell me.
Okay, these are the parts of stem only, but there are some roots coming here and there.
Absolutely. Now,
Little
do you
bit of.
see what is happening here? With a question that Meenakshi had on mind about a random object that she picked up from around the room and brought it here, we had a whole inquiry about plants growing in water without soil, plants where a main stem has actually grown into roots, but the rest roots are just about popping up. An inquiry about, was this cut from a plant or a bigger tree and this is a smaller chunk, or is this a plant growing on its own in water?
How is it making its food?
There you go. See, even if I'm talking and repeating
Actually, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
The thoughts are automatically coming to my brain.
Exactly, the thought process doesn't stop. It just starts from there. All your prior knowledge comes to forefront, isn't it? Like you said, it's making its own food. What do you need to make your own food? What is it that a plant needs? Then?
Do all plants grow in water?
Yeah, exactly. That's another inquiry. So what I would appreciate is, why don't you go back home, try 3 or 4 vases like this, or just about pots like this, or glasses. Put some plants in it to see which plant grows for how many days or stays for how many days only on water. And do all plants grow roots as they are immersed in water? Do you see how simply the inquiry can be built? It's just about you provoking thoughts, or you giving ideas to other students to say, hey, how about this? How about that? So you actually become playful about it rather than telling them, that's a plant immersed in water for many days. It's been more than 15 days. I'm giving you a reality now. It's been more than 15 days that this plant has been in water. And when this plant is in water, it actually has its own nutrition. It's growing on its own nutrition, taking some from this pot. There is some sunlight here, therefore it can grow on its own even in water and grow its own roots.
That is so beautiful.
That's how inquiries are. That's how
It must be
inquiries can be built.
Student might be thinking so many questions.
Yeah,
So many questions, and there is a classroom of 25 or 30 children, and all the questions. If do you collect all the questions when you?
Okay,
do
before
this
I say that, tell me the top 3 questions on your mind now about this plant.
I have all these. That do they make their own food? Do all plants grow in water? And third one is how does it happen? What is the procedure of getting roots and all that?
Exactly. Right. Any other very random question or very random thought? It's okay. No question is a wrong question.
Why one of them has roots and 2 of them doesn't have?
There you go. You know what? These are the hidden questions in your mind, and we must bring them out because that's where the inquiry lies. Okay, all this is obvious, but what about the non-obvious ones? So, once you go into that direction, you will see many thoughts coming in. If the roots are coming, why was one of the stem only with one leaf left? Yeah. Are there new leaves that are going to come here? Go ahead, pick up these stems and observe them. And
I think I can see some new leaves coming in this.
What
This
else
one
do you
is
see here?
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3 leaves which have come up, and some of them are falling also. So I can see that.
Yeah, wonderful. See, you can take them in any direction that you want. Now, let's say if we are in a mathematics and a science class. Now, I'm going outside
That
of
was
the
my
box.
another question. Okay?
Go ahead,
I wanted
go ahead.
to know whether it is more this thing in science class also, or other subjects also you can.
Now, you see, if I ask you that what is the arrangement of leaf over here, that would be a science-based
Science,
question.
yeah.
But if I ask you what is the pattern in these leaves, is there a pattern in these arrangement of leaves in these plants? How many leaves are there? Which one has more? Which one has less? Is the length of every leaf same or different? Now, those questions are mathematical bench of mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take more questions and tell me more questions. Don't think about the subjects. Tell me a question that comes to your mind.
How many colors are there in these leaves?
She just went to art. I did not ask her, but it automatically.
Shades.
There you go. Colors, shades.
How much water is needed in this?
There you go. That's mathematics. What else? Keep looking at it and keep thinking about it.
Can we write a poem on this?
Absolutely. Now that's language.
So, what is the name of this plant?
Exactly. What's the name of this plant? I mean,
Then
who
this
is
is
this
basic
plant?
question.
Exactly. So, you know what? When you do not have the constraints of a subject area and you're not bound by you need to learn this, you can actually learn a lot. For example, this plant today has become a subject of inquiry for us, and we have taken it in many directions. But you know what? If it goes into too many directions, then where is my 40-minute period going to accommodate this?
That was another thought about it. Do you collect questions?
Yeah,
Do
coming
you
back to your
keep it
question.
subject based? How do you what is that called?
Filter them.
How do you filter them?
And how do you address them?
Address them, because that may be like it's going this direction, this direction, this direction. Where are we reaching?
You know what, Meenakshi? The first thing in inquiry is free thinking. Go ahead and think about anything that you want.
Okay.
For example, the way you were doing, you were going, I'm not limiting you by subjects, I'm just asking you to observe and ask and think and tell. And that's the major thing that we need to do. Allow thinking to happen. Once this thinking is visible, me as a teacher, I'm going to structure this in my mind. So what I do is I collect these questions and I put them as unit-based inquiry. That is, within this unit we will be covering these. Independent inquiries. Some I just invite students, you don't have to necessarily take your own question to find answers. You can actually pick up anybody's question, and there are no names over there written along with the question, right? So you can actually invite students to take a question back, find out an answer. We place our trust in students to know that they know how to find out, right? Now
that is so beautiful. मैंने शुरू में which line I said कि we should tell students how to think, not to what to think.
There you go. You don't have to really make a conscious effort. It's just a way of working. Once you adopt it, it'll come automatically. So it's just about making that start of placing the onus, like Meenakshi said, making students think, placing that onus onto students and trusting them on it.
Yes.
And guiding them throughout.
Yes.
Don't be missing. Don't go missing, because it's their inquiry. Every independent inquiry needs to be answered. How? I think about 5 minutes in a class or 3 to 4 minutes in a class, one question per day answered is problem solved, is inquiry initiated. Because then it becomes automatically, you'll see students pairing up, making small groups to find out answers to those inquiries. And always keep a space in your class board to ask them to write or make something and display it for everybody to know. Maybe you're not able to cover it every question every day, but if you have that board, students will make an effort, because it's their board. It is made by them.
And it is so beautiful also, because I think there are groups, there is a group learning happening.
Exactly.
Nobody is feeling threatened here.
Yeah.
So there are many other aspects also which are coming.
You see, as a teacher, you start looking at it from a different lens, right? You start appreciating inquiry.
Because you have given them freedom to think anything.
Exactly.
Maybe you told that also, that it can be any question.
Yeah,
so nothing is wrong, nothing is right. So we give them freedom of choice also.
Absolutely. And talking about freedom of choice, even when I'm talking about this and we are talking about plants, not all students in my class will think about this.
Yes.
Because when she brought it, she said something else. It's in a vase and it's in a glass vase. Now, let's focus on
maybe
this.
Somebody is, yeah.
Yeah. Now, maybe some child's focus is on this vase. What do you think? What kind of questions do you think come to your mind when I pick up this vase in front of you?
Shape of the vase.
Shape. What else?
What is it made of?
Yes, materials.
And what are these lines in between?
Yes, artistic expressions.
And can we put something else also in this?
Yeah,
Can we make something else?
Can we make it into a decanter?
Yeah,
and
maybe
into a jar?
there may be flowers in it.
There you go.
Flower pot?
Absolutely. Can it be a flower pot?
And can we put some kind of stones, small stones, colorful stones into it to add the beauty of it?
Ideas, aesthetics. Absolutely. You see where this inquiry has taken you? Not all students will want to talk about the things that you're looking at. And therefore, the other things in the picture also matter. And we say that, we're going to talk about materials. as we move into the chapter that we deal with materials. And I'm going to bring back this vase over there then, and we're going to discuss this. But yes, all of this, the experiments that you're talking about, the thinking that's now you see when even while I'm talking to you or talking to her, her mind is still there and she's still looking
Yes,
at it, and there are
I'm
more
thinking
questions
it
there.
is,
Let me ask
it is
her.
so interesting also to think about that much, because if you would have taught me simply that this is a plant and these are the leaves and this is the water and this is made, I think I will not think about it.
Yeah.
I will just take that information inside, and I think impression also would have been very little impression would have left
Exactly.
me. But when I am thinking, I am getting the answer, I am extracting the answers, and I am thinking also. So I think lot of things are happening in my brain.
You know what? Another thing that's very impactful that has happened from the time we started to where we are right now, it's not about can you tell me? She told me. It has become I am thinking. I can see that. So that
Yes.
whole change is something that you've seen within a few minutes while we are talking. You see? And if you carry on this in your class, it becomes their nature, second nature to just talk like that. That's the language of inquiry that we use. That's what we encourage.
Because tomorrow, if I see something else, also I'll start thinking about that why this cushion is made of, why the pedagogics, why pedagogy pods. So many questions are coming to my mind for everything. I think it becomes a habit.
Now this is our new object of interest. Go ahead, Meenakshi, and talk about this to everybody. If you were to, get this in your class, talk about inquiry in the classroom. How are you going to take it forward?
I will put it there in between the students, and I'll ask them to think about it. So may I ask you as a student what questions are coming to your mind?
Ma'am, why have you brought a cushion in the class? Are we going to sleep? Are we going to have fun?
Yeah, one question.
Ma'am, there's something written on it also. What are pods?
Pods, yes, I have written this question. But I want to ask you also, Meenakshi, shall we answer these questions at that time only, and shall we
Good one.
ask students to find it out?
You know what? It's a very good practice, like I said in an earlier podcast as well, that always turn around a bigger question into smaller questions and give it for them to answer, because that's the joy where they find the joy. For example, Meenakshi, if you were to ask me about, why have you brought a cushion to class? Is it going to be fun? So, what is it that I'm going to respond as?
Because as a teacher, we have a normal response of answering the questions.
Exactly.
At once, whenever somebody asks a question, we are in a hurry to answer that question.
Exactly. So what I'm going to ask is, if my student says, "Ma'am, why have you brought a cushion to the class? Are we going to have fun?" You're going to say, "I brought a cushion to the class. Okay, what do you think this cushion is all about? Do you think it's fun to bring a cushion to the class?" So turn it around.
Okay.
Ask them. Yeah. So if I were to ask you this question, what will be your response?
Yeah, it seems fun because it's very colorful,
There you go.
and two people are chatting on this.
Yeah.
And there's a mic also,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some small stars.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is some talk between two people.
There you go. See, the student is going to form the entire idea because you've brought something that actually helps you think ahead, think forward. So don't just pick up something randomly. Sometimes you have to pick some things intentionally, right? Okay, they're sitting together, right? Are they sitting together? Are they talking to each other? How are they looking in that whole pose?
Yeah, they're chatting with each other. Yes, and they have some
Headphones?
headphones also. So they are listening to each other and they are chatting with each other. And their pose tells that there is something very interesting happening here.
There you go. You know what? That fun element has come in. So do you think this is going to be fun?
This is going to be a little bit of knowledge,
Okay.
and I think small fun also.
Yeah, you know why? Because there are words over here. What
Words.
tells you that this is going to be knowledgeable? This is going to be about, this is going to give you some knowledge.
Because this is written pedagogy.
There you go.
Pedagogy.
You know, there are
yeah.
big words out there. What do you mean by pedagogy? Do you know what is pedagogy?
No, ma'am, I don't know.
Okay.
about
So
pedagogy.
if my child doesn't know about a word, that is a big word. What do I do? Word like pedagogy. You know what? Again, instead of you offering an answer and the child about half listening it because they've already found that word very intimidating, right? I would say, okay, let's pick up a dictionary. I wouldn't say go pick up a dictionary and find out. I'll say let's pick up a dictionary and find out the meaning of this word. And then we sit down together, or students sit down in pairs to find out the meaning, and then help me understand what is the meaning of the word. Yeah? So, Vinakshi, your next challenge is pick up a dictionary, or you could pick up your phone actually, find out meaning of the word, and let's find out what is the meaning of the word pedagogy.
Okay, let me do that.
As Vinakshi does that, let me also give you another insight. While the students are doing this, you all have word walls in your classroom. Make your word walls talking word walls. Invite students to draw pictures. Invite students to make sentences. I know you all do that. But imagery or visualization is very important. So ask them to visualize a scenario where this word could be used. Make small cards, put it next to the word, because that's memorization, that's memory. It's going to set into your minds that this is the meaning of this word. Let's see if she's found out.
I have found it out. And this term refers to the method of how teachers teach.
There you go. It was so simple.
And in theory and in practice.
There you go. Now, what do you understand out of this?
I understand how teachers teach and what are the methods teacher takes to teach.
Okay.
So pedagogy is all about teaching.
Agreed. Now, why do you think the word pedagogy is written over here?
Because they are talking about pedagogy.
Exactly. So what are they going to talk about in this podcast?
They are talking about education.
Okay, wonderful. And
how
about
to teach.
Exactly.
What to teach.
Exactly. Now you see how such a simple thing has turned into an inquiry, right? And when actually we could not just look at this, look at the choice of colors, talk about the environment
shapes
over here, look at the material that has been used, or why is it a cushion? Why could they not have a placard over here? Yeah, they could always have one in the background. Why don't they have that? Why is it cushion?
Cushion, yeah. And this sofa also seems very comfortable to sit for two people, and they're sitting comfortably and talking something about education.
Correct, right? So that's exactly how you start an inquiry, take it forward, and you have no limits in that. But of course, you have time constraints of your time period, but don't let that play on your mind while you're doing this. Adjust your time in a way that the day you're initiating an inquiry, let it be a free flow of thoughts, and then probably streamline and structure it and help it fit into your schedule.
Yeah, we need to talk about this also, streamlining and structuring the questions, because that is also another thing in my mind, how to do that, because there will be too many questions, how to sort them out, how to put them. And once I visited with you to Pathways, and I found out some boards on inquiries, and there were questions written there.
Yes.
So this is, I think I found the answer myself, that you make a board and make questions, these questions go into this subject, and this subject. I think so. My thinking is that.
You're absolutely right. That's how you correlated it, and that's exactly how you should. You know what? What we're going to do is, you've asked me a very, very pertinent question, which is like, how do you structure this? How do you take this forward? It's not an unstructured way of teaching. It's a very structured way of teaching. So, in one of our upcoming podcasts, we are going to talk about how do you bring a structure and a sense in this free flow of thoughts. How do you streamline teaching, learning using inquiry-based method? I'm going to take that up in one of our podcasts, and you must look forward to that.
So thank you so much for telling so much about inquiry-based learning, and we'll talk about it.
Wait, let me just, before we close this podcast, give you an inquiry to handle. But actually, I want to do something very different to close this podcast today. What do you think I should do?
I think involve audience in this thing.
Why not? Why not? What do you think audience should do?
I think they should find some inquiry about the object which is lying in their houses, and they should share that with us.
Absolutely. So, pick up an object around you. Think of the ways you can actually build an inquiry around it. Post it in our comments, and we would love to pick up your thoughts and share with others in our upcoming session. So we look forward to getting those thoughts from you, getting your ways of designing and drafting inquiries from you, and sharing it with the world the next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Vinakshi.
Thank you.
What a lovely session we've had. Thank you.
Thank you so much.